They warned you about sex. They told you it would ruin your focus, kill your drive, waste your time. But they missed the deeper truth. Sex isn't the enemy. Your lack of control is. Marcus Aurelius didn't say avoid pleasure. He said, you must build up your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as it can. But how can you build anything when your energy leaks through every craving? It's not the act that weakens you. It's the addiction to the act. The need to feel something, anything, just to silence your thoughts for a moment. Sex becomes a drug, and the more you chase it without purpose, the further you drift from your power. The Stoics believed true freedom comes from ruling yourself, not your urges ruling you. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. So this video isn't about shame. It's about strength, not suppression, but self-mastery. If you've ever felt like sex is taking more than it gives, if your mind feels foggy, your purpose feels distant, and your discipline feels broken, then listen closely. This isn't a purity sermon. This is a call to reclaim your edge. Because when you rise above impulse, you rise into power. Now, in this video, we'll break down 8 powerful Stoic lessons that will help you regain control over your sexual urges, sharpen your focus, and build a life guided by reason, not impulse. Not with guilt, but with clarity. Not with fear, but with philosophy. Let's begin. Lesson 1. You don't control sex, it controls you. You think you're in control. You think your desires are yours, that you chase sex because you enjoy it, because you deserve it, because it's natural. But what if that's not true? What if sex, or more precisely, the chase of it, has been quietly programming you to obey without question? Let's be honest. You didn't plan to stay up late last night scrolling through half-naked strangers. You didn't intend to waste an hour fantasizing, texting, watching, wishing. It just happened. You told yourself, just 5 minutes. But the sun came up, and your clarity disappeared. That's not control. That's compulsion. And here's what the Stoics would say. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. The danger isn't sex itself. It's your relationship with it. When sex becomes a need, not a choice, it becomes your master. When you start measuring your value based on how often you get it, how many people want you, or how much attention you attract, you've already lost. Because now you don't pursue sex with intention. You chase it for validation. And that's slavery. Most people won't admit it, but deep down they feel this weakness. They feel it in the way they chase temporary connection to avoid permanent emptiness. They feel it in the way they can't sit still unless someone's texting them, complimenting them, or giving them attention. The Stoics would call this dependency, a mental addiction to stimulation, a deep fear of stillness. Marcus Aurelius warned, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So ask yourself, when it comes to sex, who's truly in control? You, or your biology? Your boredom, your fear? Stoicism doesn't tell you to suppress desire. It teaches you to lead it, to master it, to understand it as a powerful tool, not a guiding force. Because once you let sex define your emotions, your confidence, your schedule, your habits, you've handed over the keys to your peace. And it never ends there. Once you're ruled by sex, you're easy to manipulate. Advertisers will sell to you. Influencers will distract you. Lust will delay your goals, kill your focus, and cloud your judgment. But there's another way. Stoicism gives you the power to pause, to examine desire, not obey it. To say, I feel this urge, but I am not this urge. That moment of awareness, that's where freedom starts. Because when you stop needing sex to feel worthy, you finally become powerful. Not cold, not disconnected, but composed, clear, centered. That's real control. And it begins with one truth. Sex doesn't define your strength. Your strength is defined by what you can walk away from. Lesson 2. Sex won't fix your loneliness, it will multiply it. Let's be honest. Most people don't chase sex because they're overflowing with joy. They chase it because they're empty, because they're bored, anxious, hurt, or alone. And sex in those moments feels like a cure. It gives you a hit of connection, a touch, a kiss, a voice that whispers you matter. But what happens when it's over? The silence comes back, and it feels heavier. That's because sex can't fix loneliness. It hides it for a moment, but deep down, it makes the void even deeper. Why? Because when you use sex to escape, you're not healing. You're distracting. And the Stoics knew distraction is the enemy of growth. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." What you think you're missing, what you think sex will solve, is rarely about the body. It's about the soul. Loneliness is not the absence of people. It's the absence of purpose. It's the emptiness you feel when you stop living for something greater and start chasing momentary comfort instead. So you run to someone's arms. You give yourself away, and for a few minutes you feel seen. But then it fades, because it wasn't connection, it was consumption. You weren't loving, you were escaping, and that's the most dangerous pattern. Using people to avoid sitting with yourself. Marcus Aurelius warned, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." But if you never visit that retreat, if you never build that inner world, you will forever search for meaning in other people's bodies. That's not power. That's desperation. So what do you do instead? You face your loneliness, not with shame, with strength. You sit with it. You listen to it. You ask it questions. What am I really craving right now? Is it intimacy or validation? Is it love or distraction? And then you build what you lack. You strengthen your mind. You shape your habits. You reconnect with your mission. Because when your life has direction, you stop looking for escape routes. The Stoics didn't avoid people. They just didn't depend on them for their peace. And that's what you must do. Don't use sex as a substitute for connection. Don't chase intimacy to avoid introspection. You don't need someone's body to feel whole. You need your own courage to build a life that feels full, with or without another person. Because when you stop fearing your own company, you become the kind of person who attracts true connection, not just temporary relief. That's Stoic strength. Lesson 3. Pleasure without purpose will poison your mind. We live in a world where pleasure is one click away. Swipe, tap, scroll, instant gratification. Sex, food, fame, comfort. But here's the truth no one wants to hear. Pleasure without purpose will rot your mind. At first, it feels like you're enjoying life. You're living in the moment, indulging your desires. But over time, that pleasure becomes poison. Why? Because the human mind isn't wired to handle endless stimulation without a reason behind it. The Stoics warned about this 2,000 years ago. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." The more you chase pleasure for its own sake, without anchoring it in purpose, the more restless you become. You feel empty after the high. You lose your hunger to create. You lose your focus. You become a slave to the next hit. And eventually you stop moving forward in life. Because why build when you can scroll? Why grow when you can escape? Why face your demons when someone's body can help you forget? But here's the harsh truth. Pleasure without purpose is like fire with no direction. It doesn't warm you, it burns you. The Stoics believed pleasure wasn't evil. It was neutral but dangerous when untamed. Marcus Aurelius didn't say avoid pleasure. He said, question it. Ask, does this serve the man I'm becoming? Or does it distract him? Pleasure becomes poison when it replaces your path. When it becomes your reward for doing nothing. When it becomes your reason for waking up. Think about it. You say you want a better life but keep chasing meaningless hookups. You say you want to grow, but you numb your mind with sexual stimulation. You say you're focused, but your actions prove otherwise. That's not pleasure. That's decay. So what's the solution? Purpose. When you live with intention, pleasure finds its proper place. It's no longer the goal, it becomes a reward. It no longer leads your decisions, it follows your discipline. Stoic philosophy teaches us to live in alignment with nature. And nature doesn't reward the lazy. It rewards the strong, the disciplined, the focused. So ask yourself, does this pleasure support my mission, or sabotage it? Does this act build my character, or erode it? Does this moment of pleasure serve a greater purpose, or is it just another escape? Because when you stop chasing high after high, and start chasing meaning, you stop being a consumer of life, and start becoming a creator. The man of purpose still enjoys pleasure, but only after he's earned it, and when he does, it no longer poisons him. It powers him. That's the Stoic path. Lesson 4. Desire isn't the enemy, your attachment to it is. Desire is natural. You want connection. You want to feel good. You want sex, intimacy, closeness, excitement. There's nothing wrong with that. But when desire becomes your master, when you must have it to feel okay, you've already lost the war. The Stoics never told us to kill our desires. They taught us to reorder them, to rule over them instead of being ruled by them. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. What's beyond your control? Another person's body, their attention, your next sexual high. You don't control any of it. So if your peace depends on pleasure, you'll never know peace at all. This is why so many people feel broken when they don't get what they want. Not because they were denied something real, but because they were attached to something they never owned in the first place. Attachment is the real chain, not the craving, not the desire, but the belief that you need it. You tell yourself, I can't relax unless I release. I need someone beside me to feel whole. I can't focus unless I escape. And you start designing your life around avoiding discomfort. You seek pleasure not because it brings meaning, but because it brings relief. But relief is not the same as fulfillment. It's a mask, a temporary fix. The Stoic way is different. It doesn't suppress desire. It sees it. It observes it. It separates you from the impulse. Imagine your desire as a fire. When it burns controlled, it warms the room. But when it spills over, it destroys everything in its path. Attachment throws gasoline on that fire. So how do you loosen your grip on it? First, name it. Don't say, I'm just stressed. Say, I'm craving intimacy because I feel empty. Second, observe it. Watch the desire rise in you, without obeying it. That's real strength. Not fighting, not suppressing, just watching. Third, replace the reaction. When the desire comes, choose something active. Journal, move your body, talk to someone, create. Not to distract yourself, but to remind yourself that you are more than your urges. Because you are. Desire is part of you, but it's not the whole you. And when you detach from the outcome, when you stop needing the thing, you gain power over it. You still feel the desire, but you no longer drown in it. You own it. It doesn't own you. That's freedom. And that is what the Stoics fought for. Lesson 5. Your body is a servant, not a master. There's a reason Marcus Aurelius wrote daily reminders to himself about his body. Because even as an emperor, he knew this truth. You must build your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. But when you're led by your body, when every action is dictated by what feels good, you no longer build your life, you obey it. This is where most people are stuck. They wake up and immediately check their phones. They feel an urge and give in. They feel bored and scroll. They feel lonely and chase pleasure. not because they've decided to, but because their body decided for them. Your body is not evil, but it's also not wise. It wants comfort, food, sex, rest, stimulation. It doesn't think about the future. It doesn't care about your goals. It wants now. And if you don't train it, it will train you. The Stoics understood that to live a meaningful life, the mind must govern the body, not the other way around. Think of your body like a wild horse. Strong, energetic, vital. But without a rider, it runs wild. And it always runs toward the easiest path. Your job is to grab the reins. That starts with awareness. Ask yourself, am I making this decision or is my body making it for me? Is this craving coming from your values or your flesh? Every time you act without checking in with your higher self, you give your body more authority. And here's the thing, the body never stops asking. It will always crave more. More sugar, more sex, more escape, more comfort. If you obey every time it knocks, it stops asking, it starts demanding. But if you pause, just pause, you create a space between stimulus and response. That space is everything. That's where power lives. That's where Stoicism begins. The Stoics practiced cold showers early mornings, fasting not because they hated comfort, but because they knew this. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. And if your thoughts are shaped by your body's screams, your soul gets colored by laziness, fear, and indulgence. So flip the script. Treat your body like a warrior's weapon. Sharpen it. Discipline it. Respect it. But don't let it tell you what to do. Don't let your body command your soul. When the urge for sex arises and you feel like you have to act, ask, is this my value speaking, or my hunger? Because when your body becomes your servant, not your master, you become dangerous, calm, focused, unshakable. That's what the Stoics called true power. Lesson 6. Sexual energy is creative energy. Don't waste it. Most people see sex as an itch to scratch, a physical craving, a reward, a way to relax, escape, or feel alive. But the Stoics and even many modern thinkers saw it differently. They believed sexual energy is creative energy. It's not just something to release. It's something to redirect. Why? Because every time you indulge in pleasure without intention, you don't just lose semen or minutes. You lose momentum. Ask yourself honestly, how do you feel after you indulge in sex or masturbation you didn't plan, didn't need, or didn't even want afterward? Do you feel sharper, more focused, more driven? Or do you feel drained, dull, weaker? That's not a coincidence. That's biology. Sexual energy is powerful. It's the same energy that creates life. And when it's not used to create life, it can be used to create purpose. Think about the great artists, warriors, inventors. They were often intense, focused, and unusually disciplined, not because they were saints, but because they learned to harness their energy. Even Nikola Tesla believed that preserving his sexual energy gave him his mental edge. The Stoics didn't call it semen retention, but they knew that discipline and pleasure was the key to strength and purpose. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Every time you resist the easy thrill of release, you're choosing adversity, and with it you get the chance to prove yourself. Now, this isn't about repression. You're not here to deny your sexual nature. You're here to command it. Big difference. Suppressing desire leads to frustration, but transmuting desire leads to greatness. What does that look like? Instead of indulging, you take that energy and write, create, build, train, speak, lead. You take the very thing that wants to pull you down, and you turn it into fuel. That's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Your sexual energy is not the problem. Wasting it is. You don't need to be afraid of your desire. You need to use it. So next time the urge hits, try this. Pause. Feel the energy rising in your body. And instead of obeying it, redirect it. Ask, what can I build right now with this energy? What problem can I solve? What habit can I strengthen? Because you weren't given this power to waste it on a screen. You were given it to shape the world. Sexual energy is creative energy. And when you start using it, your entire life changes. Lesson 7. The body follows the mind. Train it daily. You already know that discipline starts in the mind. But what most people forget is this. Your body listens to your thoughts whether they're strong or weak. If your mind is lazy, your body becomes lazy. If your thoughts are scattered, your energy follows. And when your mind is consumed with sex, your body follows its commands. The Stoics believe that mastery of the self begins in the mind, but must be practiced through the body. That's why they trained daily. They didn't wait for the perfect moment or mood. They created routine, structure, rituals of strength. Marcus Aurelius didn't just write in his journal, he lived what he wrote. Seneca didn't just preach endurance, he practiced cold baths and minimal living. Epictetus, a slave, didn't control his circumstances, but he controlled his responses with unshakable strength. Now ask yourself, what daily habits are you building? Do they make you weaker or stronger? Because the moment you let your routine slip, you let your standards slip. And when your standards drop, urges flood in. Why? Because the mind hates a vacuum. When you don't feed it purpose, it craves pleasure. When you don't challenge it, it seeks comfort. And when you don't train it, it trains you to obey impulses. This is why daily training matters. Not for aesthetics, not to look good on Instagram, but to keep the mind sharp through the body. Train your body to endure discomfort. Push-ups when the urge comes. Cold showers when thoughts heat up. Early rising when laziness tempts you. Discipline doesn't start in the big moments. It's built in the small repetitions. You want to control your sexual urges? Start by controlling your schedule. Wake up early. Make your bed. Move your body. Eat clean. Speak less. Do more. Every act of order kills a little chaos. And that chaos is where lust grows. Marcus Aurelius said, "You must build your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. Build your life with intentional action. Don't just wait for change, train for it. Your body is not the enemy, but it must be led, and it will either follow your urges or follow your higher self. So choose the leader. Every day you train, you remind your body, I am in charge. I choose what we do, not the craving. I am the master. You are the vessel." That's Stoicism in practice. Not just philosophy, physicality. Not just thoughts, acts of control. Because the body follows the mind, and the mind follows your habits. So train both. Daily. B. Lesson 8. Sex isn't the problem, your mindset is. Let's make something clear. Sex isn't evil. Pleasure isn't the enemy. Even the urge itself is not the villain. The real problem is your relationship with it. When sex becomes an escape, when pleasure becomes a reflex, when you start using your body to run from your mind, that's when you lose control. The Stoics weren't anti-pleasure. They enjoyed meals, conversation, beauty, intimacy, but they understood this truth. Everything in moderation. Excess brings slavery. That's the heart of Stoic discipline. You don't need to eliminate pleasure. You need to put it in its proper place. And that begins with mindset. Right now, you may believe that your urges are too strong, that lust controls you, that you can't go a week or even a day without release. But that belief isn't truth. It's a script you've rehearsed too many times, and it's time to rewrite it. Because what if the urge is actually your signal that something deeper is missing? Not just dopamine direction, not just pleasure purpose. You don't need more control over your body. You need more clarity in your mind. What are you building? Who are you becoming? What mission makes temporary pleasure feel small in comparison? When your life is empty, the urge feels massive. But when your life is full of discipline, goals, mission, meaning, the urge shrinks. It becomes noise in the background of a powerful life. So shift your mindset from suppression to expansion. You're not here to fight lust forever. You're here to outgrow it. You're not here to survive urges. You're here to transcend them by living with such strength, such purpose, such clarity, that you simply don't have time to keep running in circles. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." So who will you be now? Not just a man who quits a habit, but a man who commands himself. Not just a woman who resists an urge, but one who embodies calm power. You've made it this far in the video, and that alone proves one thing. There's a fighter in you, a quiet strength that's waking up. So don't stop here. If this message lit a spark in you, there's more where it came from. Check out the other videos on this channel. Each one is designed to strengthen your mindset, sharpen your focus, and help you become the person you were meant to be. Not a slave to pleasure, but a master of purpose. Your journey doesn't end here. It starts here. Let's keep building.